that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he was come from God, and he was going back to God, he rises from supper and laid aside his garment. That's the setting aside of his deity, or not really setting aside of his deity, but veiling himself in flesh and coming down to this earth. And then it says, after he had poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, he was supposed to be served, but he was doing the serving. Right? And to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded. And this is an interesting thing here, right? And we'll see this. In verse 6 it says, Then come he to Simon Peter, and Peter says unto him, Lord, do you wash my feet? So Peter says to the Lord Jesus, are you going to wash my feet? And Jesus answered and said unto him, and this is the answer to your question. Should we do this today? Now, Jesus is washing the feet of the disciples, right? We all know what feet washing is, right? Yeah. You all know what that is, right? Yeah. But here's what Jesus says to Simon Peter. When Peter asked him, are you going to wash my feet also? Jesus says unto him, what I do, you know not. Do you hear that? Peter says, are you washing my feet? Jesus says, what I'm doing, you don't know. Yeah. Does Peter not know what foot washing is? Isn't that what Jesus is doing? Yeah. Yeah. But Jesus says, what I'm doing, you don't know. So there was a deeper meaning behind what Jesus was saying, what Jesus was doing. Jesus was using the feet washing as an example of something greater. And so he says this, but you shall know hereafter. What I'm doing now in washing your feet, you don't understand it. But you're going to know later on. And so it says, Peter says unto him, you shall never wash my feet. Then don't wash my feet. And he answered, Jesus answered him, if I wash not your feet, you have no part with me. So Peter says, Peter comes to Jesus. Jesus is washing their feet. Peter comes and says, are you washing my feet? Jesus says, what I'm doing, you don't understand. But later on, you will. And Peter says, well, no, don't wash my feet. And Jesus says, well, if I'm not washing your feet, you have no part with me. You're not with me. And then here's what Peter says after Jesus says that. Simon Peter says unto him, Lord, not my feet only.